Fantastic. Oh! Ashamed. I feel ashamed. Daniel Bwala, if I were you, I will run to Panya. If a man sells his honor, sells his integrity, what else do you have to stand on? As a human being, you are finished. So today I'll be reacting. So in this video, I'll be watching and reacting to the Al Jazeera interview of President Tinubu's special advisor on policy communication that went to Al Jazeera, and he was being grilled about the genocide of Christians in Nigeria and his support for Tinubu. Note that this man was in the opposition, but after they used money rub him mouth, he switched. So now they are bringing out all the things he said against Tinubu, and he kept denying that he didn't say anything. I wonder how he still sat there. If it was me, I would open ground and enter. If I'm his son or his child, I will disown him, because with all due respect, sir, you are finished. If I'm your son, I will be ashamed to call you my father. Let me react to it. Let's watch it. It's quite embarrassing. Even for you that is not a Nigerian, you will shame. Let's watch it together.
2023, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is elected president of Nigeria, promising to tackle the nation's widespread insecurity and address two of its root causes:
things have gotten worse
and corruption.
Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria.
Nearly 3 years later, international attention is back on the country, with the US launching strikes as a, quote, Christmas present, claiming Nigeria is failing to stop a genocide against its Christian population.
Bam.
But whilst the Nigerian government denies these claims, there's no disputing that wider insecurity is spreading. My guest tonight was once one of the president's fiercest critics,
one
but
of
now
the fiercest critics,
as his official spokesperson and special advisor, defending the president's efforts to renew hope for Nigeria. I'm Mehdi Hasan, and tonight I go head-to-head with Daniel Bwala. I'll challenge him on Trump's Christian genocide claims, the Nigerian government's failures to protect its own people, and whether President Tinubu profits from corruption. I'll also be joined by a panel of experts. Anu Adeoye, a journalist with the Financial Times, Aisha Osori, a lawyer and development expert with Open Society Foundations, and Tunde Doherty, chairman of the APC ruling party's UK chapter.
Once you see that cap, you know there's no brain in the head again. Once you see that cap like that 8, everything is gone. They will try to defend the indefendable. The more you try to defend this APC government, the more you look foolish.
Thank you so much for joining me on Head to Head.
Thank you.
Nigeria is a proud, sovereign, independent nation, a powerhouse in Africa.
Yes.
So why did you just let Donald Trump and the United States bomb your country on Christmas Day?
The United States government did not bomb our country. The decision by the US government was anchored on the intelligence sharing between Nigeria and the United States.
What intelligence?
And the agreement on the operation.
So Donald Trump just didn't bomb Nigeria at his own whim?
No. The US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, called our own foreign affairs minister when the decision was made that was the time to strike, and the foreign affairs minister got in touch with the president.
So this was a joint operation, you're saying?
Yes, it was a joint operation. On the Nigerian...
What I don't understand is, how can it be a joint operation? Yeah. Donald Trump says that there is a genocide going on against Christians carried out by Muslims, with your government turning a blind eye. You've called that narrative a hoax. You said it creates discord in Nigeria.
Right.
So when Donald Trump says he's bombing Nigeria to protect Christians from a genocide, is he lying?
We both disagree as to whether the so-called genocide in Nigeria was against Christians.
What do you mean by so-called?
We believe that it is a targeted killing by insurgents, Boko Haram bandits, and all of these criminal elements against the people of Nigeria, Christians, Muslims, and those who have not identified with any religion. Donald Trump believed it is Christians. We now felt, rather than arguing about whether it is against Christians or not, there is one area we both agree, that we have a joint interest in the fight against terrorism.
But you're fine with the fact that his motivation is something you disagree with. You think it's a hoax.
Yes, because...
So when Donald Trump says there is a genocide against Christians in Nigeria, is he telling the truth?
It is a half-truth, in the sense that, yes, Christians have been affected, but the whole truth is that both Christians, Muslims, and those who have not identified. I said the narrative of Christian genocide was a hoax.
Pushing it.
That's his opinion. Everybody's entitled to it.
Is he right or wrong?
We believe there is a targeted killing of all Nigerians. Evidence has shown.
By all Nigerians,
and that is where
dumb?
we're focused on fighting terrorism.
So let's talk about the terrorism.
Right.
Trump claimed he targeted, quote, ISIS terrorist scum.
Right.
And every camp got decimated. But a lot of investigative reporting on the ground shows that few, if any, combatants were killed. Some bombs landed in empty fields. A local leader in one of the districts said, the same militants we knew are still there, loitering around our communities.
Very true.
There were killings of terrorists.
That's not what local leaders are
So I
saying.
can call local television that testified. Arise News did, Channels Television did.
Okay.
So there was the killing.
I swear I watched a report on Arise where somebody said
traditional ruler on the district
it was
says,
just
we saw no
empty
dead
space,
bodies,
they struck
even
us.
where the bombs fell. Those are his words.
Exactly.
Because the bomb didn't fall in the town. It was at the camp, that enclave, where they gathered.
Are you okay with having the Americans bomb Nigerian people's homes?
I'm not aware of that one.
You're not aware of Morenike Saka, who said, I began to scream for help. I had to crawl my way out of the room. The missile tore through her apartment building, according to the Washington Post. How about Musa Soliu? I was in my room. I was buried under the ruins. I don't know how to restart my life. My belongings are destroyed.
Houses were not destroyed.
Are you telling us that Nigerian citizens are lying about being bombed by the US?
I am saying that the military operation that was conducted on that day was targeted as terrorists, and we hit them.
You have a history of not hitting terrorists and hitting civilians. You know that, right? Your country.
I'm not
Very
aware.
true.
Oh, well, on December 21st, the Nigerian Air Force said that they handed over compensation to people who were hit in an accidental airstrike on Christmas Day 2024.
They bombed the village.
Bomb every Christmas.
When and when?
Christmas Day 2024.
Why is he acting ignorant?
Christmas Day 2025.
I dispute that fact.
What house what? Something that is all in the news.
Let me ask you this. Since President Tinubu came to office in 2023, the situation has worsened in your country. You have a mixture of militant groups, you have bandits, you have clashes between herders and farmers.
We also have
Nigeria is now...
incursion of foreign interest in Nigeria.
Nigeria is now the 5th deadliest country in the world. Are you proud of that record?
I acknowledge the fact that we have insecurity in Nigeria, and until the hoax narrative of the Christian genocide, then we began to see back-to-back attack in Nigeria. We had for the first 2 years of the president's administration a substantial peace in Nigeria.
Actually, the number of deaths went up.
What he said now, does it make any
After
sense to him?
this incident of a Christian genocide. And by the way,
when did that begin?
there is no country of the world today that is free from insecurity.
No,
there
I
are
agree.
parts of London
that's why
you can't go in the evening.
Okay, but we're not bombing London to root out militant training camps.
Exactly.
But you have had so many of the bombing on behalf of the United Kingdom by the United States.
Since you're making rather spurious comparisons.
the context is
very
11,000 people were killed in
talk.
conflict in Nigeria in 2025. That is up from 8,700 in 2023. That is a 26% increase in the number of Nigerians killed since your party and your president came to office. That's a pretty awful record.
It's awful. And we're fighting hard day and night. But that's one of the reasons why the president traveled to Turkey, where we had bilateral agreement to deal with insecurity. That's why we're cooperating with the United States of America. That's why we're cooperating with any country of the world. The reason is because...
So any country, just go. You cannot handle your own affairs.
Terrorism is a global phenomenon.
Agreed.
And so every country is involved in it.
But it's getting worse in Nigeria. That's the problem.
I can't say it is getting worse.
You just agreed with me when I gave you the numbers.
No, I said...
8,700 killed in 2023,
Right.
11,000
You just agreed now. Are they shame for this
getting
man?
worse.
How many people were killed in the United States last year?
In conflict-related violence, probably.
So this is not a conflict. This is an act of terrorism.
Okay. So how many people were killed in the United States in terrorism?
This is part of what Donald Trump many years ago in his first term classified the Western media as fake news. The reason is because context matter.
This is not Western media.
You are well aware.
This is not Western media.
Yes, I understand. But
this is the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data, ACLED, the most respected group that counts conflict-related violence around the world.
Let me ask you, where there is a terrorist
I could also give you another source.
Conflict?
I mean, National Human Rights Commission. This is a Nigerian group. 2,266 people were killed by bandits or insurgents in the first half of 2025. That's more than were killed in all of 2024. You are failing. Amnesty International says you are failing at security. The numbers don't lie.
It's unfortunate, and as a government,
and it's getting worse.
We're working day and night
and it's
to deal
getting
with
worse.
that situation. I don't agree to the fact that it's getting worse.
How can it not get worse if more people die in 1 year than the previous year?
Context matters.
What's the context?
What is the context?
It's not getting worse.
What?
That is not a context, you dumb.
The context is
Jesus
not
Christ.
The context is that it is not getting worse because you see, this is a water.
He just gave you facts.
Okay.
If you have the water half, you could say half glass filled or half empty.
Yeah.
Isn't it right?
Yeah.
So the Western media always see Nigeria, Africa, and some of the activities in Africa as half empty. Excuse me. But we see it as half full.
But he gave you figures now that is getting worse, and you agreed.
For the president,
what is with the water?
oath of office, we knew the situation in Nigeria.
And you made it worse.
When he made
You
the
made it
decision
worse.
to take bold step to put Nigeria in better trajectory, we were well aware of the fact that it was going to incense lots of people.
Okay.
We are also
You've
aware.
made your point. I get
Okay,
the glass
go ahead.
half full. I get the context. I also understand basic mathematics. Let me ask you this. President Tinubu only declared a national emergency in November of 2025, brought in a raft of policy changes. After Trump declared your country to be a country of particular concern for failing to deal with the threat of Christians, does your government only spring into action when it is internationally shamed into doing so?
Yes.
Unfortunately for you, 6 months before that, we arrested the leaders of La Kurawa and Boko Haram. Some months before that, we killed a certain number of terrorists that the U.S. government, State Department, commended Nigeria. The U.S.
You only brought in a national
the
emergency.
U.S. Embassy celebrated the fact of the exploit of Nigeria before Donald Trump said that.
But again, he shamed you and you declared a national emergency. You didn't do it before he shamed
We declared the national emergency 6 months before Donald Trump's statement.
you. No, that's not true.
That's not true.
November of
Excuse me.
2025.
No. Much earlier, around I think April or
I
May,
think
the president declared national emergency on insecurity.
But the actual national emergency was in November.
How can it be
let's
actual?
talk about, people can look this up. Let's talk about kidnappings. The world remembers Chibok in 2014,
Right.
when 276 schoolgirls were taken by
Right.
the militant group Boko Haram. Very little has changed, unfortunately, in Nigeria.
They
Just
still
last November,
kidnap-
250 students and staff were kidnapped from St. Mary's Catholic School in Niger State. 2 years into Tinubu's presidency, Nigerian research firm SBM Intelligence said, and I quote, Nigeria's kidnap for ransom crisis has consolidated into a structured, profit-seeking industry. That's embarrassing for your country that you have a kidnapping industry.
Because the politicians are involved.
Security associated with kidnapping has now become a crisis economy. But
it's an economy.
Much more than that, I know of our government's effort in dealing with that insecurity.
How?
If you have a little understanding of the nature and the boundary and the geographical measurement of Nigeria and the tendency for insecurity to come in, then you will understand that we're fighting a hydra-headed insecurity situation. With respect to the kidnapping of children, the government has taken measures already. We've introduced what we call Save the School, where students and schools that are in remote places where there is no security are brought back into state capital where they get the education that they need.
But Nigerian people don't believe you. 2 out of 3 Nigerians say that
Where did you
security...
get that information?
Africa Barometer. May of 2024, 2 out of 3 Nigerians say security agencies are handling the abduction of Nigerians fairly badly or very badly. 1 in 3 Nigerians say they personally know someone who's been kidnapped.
Yeah,
These are stunning
Yes.
statistics. Amnesty, Human Rights Watch have lined up to say that you have allowed impunity to flourish, you have failed to apply lessons from previous attacks, damning indictments of your
I put it
security
to you,
service.
that's not what they said.
That's
That
not what
is
Amnesty
Oh, that
said.
keep quiet. That's what they
I
say.
literally got the quote right here.
Keep quiet.
The authorities' failure has allowed impunity to flourish and the killings to spread to many parts of the country.
Source.
Amnesty International.
What do you mean by
February
source? He said
2020.
Amnesty International. Nana. This man is
You're
triggering
not aware
you.
of that one.
I am
at
aware.
The weekend,
I'm aware.
At the weekend, you put out a video to music of you and a team researching and prepping for this show. And yet every time I've asked you something, you say, I'm not aware of that. What were you researching in that video?
Exactly. Ask him.
You're really funny.
He's laughing.
Let me
I'll
tell you
ask you a
this.
serious question. Amnesty
no.
International, you asked me for a
If
source,
you ask-
I read out the source. You asked me for a date, I read out the date. What's your response other than picking up glasses of water?
No, Amnesty has a history of calling everything bad.
Okay.
Really?
I think
to ask you,
that's what every
What
authoritarian
is
government in the
Amnesty-
world has
What
said.
is Amnesty's report about US?
Bad.
Not just bad, you didn't use the word bad, you read.
Yeah,
what
very
they said.
bad. Governments who do bad things, they all criticize human rights groups.
No.
Yeah, they do.
I
I do
dispute
this
that.
for a living. Let's ask about corruption before we go to our panel who are waiting patiently here. Transparency International, they say systemic corruption continues to plague the defense sector, causes a major hindrance to security. President Tinubu said in August, there is no more corruption in Nigeria. That's a ridiculous thing to say, is it not?
We investigate any case of corruption, not just in the defense, but anywhere in government. This administration has had lots of people who are in government, either sacked, or
Where name names.
The resolve of our administration in dealing with corruption is obvious.
Why did he say there's no more corruption?
You probably read him out of context.
Shut up, he said it.
No,
Keep quiet, sir, he said it.
You're cherry picking.
What do you mean he's cherry picking? This man is triggering me.
It is getting clearer to the people. We have more money to the economy and no more corruption. Full stop, close quote.
Good. So this is the context. He was communicating to the people about the exploit we're having as a result of the decision to remove fuel subsidy. We dealt with the question of corruption in the oil industry.
And that's not what he said, but okay, he didn't say anything about the oil industry.
That's why I say context matters.
Well, you can't just make up the context. He didn't say anything about the oil industry.
And
He said there was more money to the
man.
economy and no more corruption. In fact, he was criticizing.
He said no more corruption.
Question on this. How can Nigerians take Tinubu seriously on eliminating corruption when he appoints someone like Abu Bakr Bagudu as Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, a man who, according to the US Justice Department, with others, embezzled, misappropriated, defrauded and extorted billions with a B from the government of Nigeria
Exactly.
under the dictator Sani Abacha. Bagudu avoided criminal charges. He cut a deal with the Nigerian government, returned some of the money. But the president literally put Nigeria's budget in the hands of a man who's accused of looting billions of dollars.
You started your introduction by saying it's a sovereign country. The decision of the court in the United States does not bind the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
But he gave $163 million. And that man is now in charge of the Nigerian budget. You're okay with that?
He's laughing. You are get slapped. Why are you laughing?
You think it's funny?
No, I don't. I think people who are giving $163
you
million
think it's
back
funny?
shouldn't be in charge of the country's budget.
Thank you for your observation.
Okay, but do you think they should be in charge of the budget?
There's no evidence that that minister has misappropriated funds in the government.
Are you kidding me?
$163 million.
To Nigeria or to the US
To
government?
Nigeria.
Why did the US government give him $100 million?
It's a settlement. That's what you do in settlements.
Okay.
Why was he settling?
Yeah, so
okay.
if they
So you're
settled
comfortable
him,
with
he
a guy
settled us.
who is accused by the US Justice Department of embezzling with the Sani Abacha regime billions of dollars being in charge of the budget
Are
today?
you okay with a president of one of the countries in the world who was convicted by the courts in that land and the person is still
Why are you
in the
deflecting?
country?
Is that the point? They ask you a simple question and you are deflecting.
Are you also okay?
Because if it's Donald Trump, I'm a well-known Trump supporter.
Are you also okay with the prime minister of a country who was accused of making a wrong judgment in an appointment that led to a lot of problem, but he has not resigned, he's still governing? Are you okay with that?
Well, by the time this show airs, he may have resigned. So your argument
Now that
Keir
it has come to
Starmer
light-
and Donald Trump, basically everyone else is corrupt. Okay. Let's
That's
go
his
on
argument.
that.
Yes,
I'm joined by
everyone else
Aisha
is
Sorry,
corrupt.
a lawyer and writer with
Shameless,
the Foundation.
shameless.
Aisha, how would you rank this government's record when it comes to security?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say 1.
1 is too
And I think
good.
one thing that I haven't heard in the conversation so far is that since President Tinubu came into office, we have no diplomatic presence in any of the major capitals. And the reason why this is tied to insecurity, for example, let's use our borders with Chad, Niger, Cameroon. When you have no diplomatic presence in those areas, then you're not able to engage on the insecurity. We talked about kidnapping a few minutes ago. There must be a link between the atrocious amounts of money that are being raised by kidnappers. Over $1 billion in 2024, according to the from ransoms. That must be what's fueling the insecurity. So there's a link between the kidnapping industry and the rising insecurity. So killing a bunch of terrorists while constantly there's a wave of terrorists coming in through the borders from Chad, from Niger.
From Niger.
Again, another thing that's been alleged is that President Tinubu's bad handling of the coup in Niger, where he said we were going to attack them, was one of the triggers for these countries, Niger and Burkina Faso, leaving ECOWAS. I'm just saying all that is connected.
Yes. So let me bring in Tunde Doherty, who is the UK chairman of the All Progressives Congress Party, the party of the president.
He's wearing that cap.
When she says 1 out of 10 security rating for your country.
Definitely, what Aisha is saying, does not really have bearing. We have the diplomat that does
I said he's wearing the cap. No need to ask him anything.
And in terms of the security situation we're talking about in Nigeria, it's not today's thing. And we must look at the solutions that this government has put into force.
What solutions?
We find out that the security architecture in Nigeria have been changed. We talk about the collaboration between the government and the United States in terms of dealing with insurgencies right there and then. Because, you know, Nigerians don't manufacture most of this high-tech required equipment to deal with such situations. The president, the government, is really doing quite fantastic work in making sure that they fight this insurgency, collaborating with all factors or all countries that is ready to work with them.
Let's bring in Anu Adeoye, a journalist for the Financial Times who recently covered Nigeria and West Africa. Anu, we can't talk about insecurity without also talking about the economy and the underlying social economic issues. Is the average Nigerian both safer and better off under President Tinubu?
The obvious answer is no.
No?
Right?
No?
And before I get to that, I want to talk to what Daniel said. I always find it very interesting with Nigerian government officials who cherry pick statistics about the US and the UK, but they never say how many hours of uninterrupted electricity as the United States had compared to how many Nigeria has had. They never try and find, you know, the good statistics that Nigerians don't benefit from. If you look at the poverty numbers, this is according to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. More than 120 million Nigerians are living in multi-dimensional poverty. So that's not just people who lack $2 a day. That's people who can't afford food, who can't afford shelter. And even if you look at the numbers of the people who have died, right? These are wartime numbers for a country that is officially not in war. And so I think it's really, really difficult to make an argument and say, you know, things are trending in the right direction.
Casualty numbers, wrong direction. Poverty numbers, wrong direction.
Right. You know, we were very clear with the Nigerian people when the decision was made. It will bring discomfort temporarily, but the long term is what we are promising.
Okay, yeah, it's clown.
Also involve intervention mechanism in dealing with some of the hardship that the people undergo. Now, when that decision was made in May 2023, it was hellish. But as I speak to you today, the numbers, the indices, and the stats are favorable to the economic reform that we have introduced.
What about the people? Can the people afford to eat?
Our net import dependency went down. Our export production capacity has gone up. Our naira is strengthened.
How?
We have provided opportunities for families.
The naira is still like 1,000 something to the dollar, 1,300. What is this clown talking about?
Cost of fee, tuition fee, as well as the cost of living.
You mentioned school. 20,000 schools in Nigeria have been shut in the last few months because of these kidnapping attacks.
Correct.
18 million Nigerian school children are not going to school, according to the UN. That is the highest number anywhere in the world. Are you proud of that?
No, I'm not proud of that because of insecurity. But the measures we are taking now, we are restoring them back to their schools.
What measures?
Schools are located in places where there are no governed spaces. We are bringing them back into towns. So when you give out your stats or your opinion about an issue, also incorporate this fact so that the viewer.
So you will remove all the schools that are in the villages and bring them to town. Does that make sense? Is that a solution?
That it brought kind of untold hardship, but also we are making progress in this.
So I agree with you. That's a fair point. We should look at things in the round, and you pointed out things you've done well. But then you need to do the same thing. Do you accept then that the poverty numbers are going in the wrong direction?
Yeah, sure. It's like
that's the crucial one for a lot of Nigerians.
No, but numbers don't lie.
141 million people in 2026.
And they're still taxing us.
62% of the population.
Then I explain to you why context matters.
I agree.
What context?
It's a failure.
It's a failure. This man is stealing me.
IMF, the World Bank, and the Brentwood, they have applauded the reform decision we took. Now, tell me one country of the world that will introduce that kind of reform, and there won't be consequential effect in terms of even in the United Kingdom, as we speak, there is a cost of living crisis. Are you aware?
No, I'm not aware of that. Let me bring Anu back in from the FT. Is that a fair point that Daniel makes, that the IMF, the World Bank are praising what we're doing and actions have consequences?
Yeah, look, I think ultimately those reforms had to happen, right? There was chronic mismanagement at the central bank. The government before the Tinubu government was an APC government, so it's the same party.
It's the same party.
There's only so much blame they can pass around. This full subsidy, you had to do something. It was riddled with corruption. But then the other part of that argument is doing those reforms should not be the end goal. It should only be the starting point. What you need ultimately is foreign direct investment in Nigeria.
Exactly.
You need people to bring money into Nigeria to invest long term.
Robust foreign direct investment in Nigeria.
Let me bring in Tunde. Tunde,
with what security?
APC governments. So you can't really blame previous government. This is all your.
Oh, stop asking this man. He's wearing the cap.
Situation in Nigeria. Do you
Definitely. That's why you have a president that is economically reliable to put the economy in the right trajectory. This is the first time you see people rushing to come and invest in Nigeria because of the key economic reshaping surgery.
It's only Chinese that are coming.
So
China.
You can tell that Nigeria of yesterday
it's only China.
Nigeria of today.
We have to go to the
dubious China in firms.
Keep telling that we're talking about IMF and World Bank as if their approval is sort of a good thing. When we talk about the fact that we live in a neoliberal world, and we're talking about the same institutions that made forced structural adjustment programs down the so many countries in Africa.
If you dance to IMF and the World Bank, you are finished.
The fact that they think these reforms are good. But put that aside. What do the average Nigerians think about their lives? All that seems to matter to the Tinubu administration and past ones is the approval of the West. And I think this conversation between you and Daniel bears that out. It's what the US says, it's what the IMF says, it's not what Nigerians say.
Nigerians, exactly.
You praise, just 1 second.
We've got to go to the break.
That's excellent, yes, excellent. Yeah. You praise the idea, you praise the idea of a Western institutions report about Nigeria insofar as the situation is bad. When we praise the idea of a Western institution that before now said something against Nigeria, but now is saying Nigeria is trying, then that is not necessary.
Well, I think amnesty.
Trying as what? Are these reforms affecting the lives of the people positively?
All right. Well, we're all cherry picking apparently. Let's go to the break. In part 2 of Head to Head, we will talk about President Tinubu, his wealth, his leadership style, and what it means for democracy with Daniel Bwala. Don't go away.
Shame they catch me for this man. I'm ashamed of him. If I'm his children, I will disown him.
Welcome back to Head to Head on Al Jazeera. My guest today is Daniel Bwala, Special Advisor to President Tinubu of Nigeria. Let's talk more about your boss, President Tinubu. He's been on the political scene in Nigeria for decades, first as governor of Lagos and now as president since 2023. He's a very rich man in a very impoverished country, and there's a lot of mystery as to where he got his wealth, estimated to be in the billions of dollars. What do you say to people who highlight allegations against him of, quote, massive corruption and misappropriation of funds?
That's their opinion.
That's their opinion.
In January 2023, you talked about the legal petition against him that involves, quote, massive corruption and misappropriation of funds. You were in the opposition and were very critical of his wealth.
Exactly verbatim what I said, because what you just said is not a true representation.
January 22nd,
play the video, play it.
You said the petition against him involves massive corruption and misappropriation of funds belonging to the government of Lagos State, abuse of official office, conflict of interest.
I'm glad you said the petition against him. Yeah, document that was taken to court.
That you highlighted.
I wasn't the one that went to court. And at that time, where was I?
You were an opposition member.
Thank you.
So should we not trust you when you say things as opposition?
What is the job of opposition?
To oppose?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you know it.
For the sake of opposing?
No, that's what you're adding.
I mean, you didn't just say that.
No, go to Westminster on Wednesday by 9 o'clock.
Okay.
You'll understand the job of the opposition.
You can do whataboutism all day, that's fine. You also said that, well, you know what doesn't happen in Westminster in the US Congress?
I know what does happen.
Well, I'm telling you what doesn't happen. Politicians don't accuse other politicians of setting up a militia.
You said they also accuse the governing party.
You said at the time.
Keep quiet, let him talk.
In judgment, in appointing someone that eventually turned out to be somebody in the FCC.
Yeah, if you think that this is comparable to Starmer and Mandos said, good luck to you if that's your
defense.
Thank you, sir. You said at the time that Tinubu started a militia to sway the election corruptly and that they even threatened you.
The candidate of all progressive Congress, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and his people created a militia. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria we are seeing a political party creating a militant arm leading to election.
So how can we take anything seriously you say tonight in his defense?
Your opinion, Nigerians.
So my opinion is your opinion. Sorry, Daniel, it's your opinion.
That was litigated in Nigeria to conclusion, and then as a country we moved on. We are more interested about the deliverables that we have for the Nigerian people, and we look for opportunities.
Nigerians are very concerned about corruption, and Tinubu, you said this. Tinubu and his people created a militia. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria we've seen a political party creating a militant arm leading to election. Your words, January 2023.
Context is everything.
There is no context.
No context.
You are quoting the things I said when I was in the opposition.
And I understand that's uncomfortable for you, but you did say them. If you want to disown them, that's fine.
for you to ask anything I've ever said.
So does he have a militia that tried to kill you?
He doesn't have. I never said he tried to kill me.
I myself have received threats from him and his camp. Your words.
I never said that.
There is also this threat to life, and I can tell you that because I myself have received threats from Asiwaju and his camp.
You didn't say that at a press conference on January 22nd, 2023. You're just denying.
I never said that.
Who said it then? A lookalike?
No, I don't know what you meant by that. I know I complained at the time.
You said
about the conduct of election.
It is not my fault that I am able to recall your words in a way you can't.
But it will be your fault
Tinubu,
when you read it out of context. Yeah.
And if we go home late tonight, context.
Yes.
Tinubu and his people created a militia. This is the first time in the history of Nigeria we've seen a political party creating a militant arm and leading to election. He advised his people should grab by all means necessary the process leading to elections, that they created this militia shortly after that. We have seen violence in Nigeria, and I myself have received threats from him and his camp.
Tinubu never created a militia. Tinubu is one of the foremost politicians in Nigerian history.
Tinubu and his people created a militia. Who said those words, Daniel?
Tinubu has helped in
Who said those words?
Tinubu and his people created a militia, Daniel. Who said those words?
Who said it?
Leadership,
I'll ask a third time.
to governance.
Tinubu and his people created a militia. Who said those words?
Tinubu and his people never created the militia.
So why did you say they did on January 22nd, 2023?
I never said that.
Let's keep going, since you're denying words that came out of your mouth. Let's quote some other folks. The Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project named President Tinubu a finalist for the 2024 Corrupt Person of the Year award. According to a 2025 poll, 2 out of 3 Nigerians think the president and his team are involved in corruption.
That's a statement from drunken people. Next question.
2 out of 3 Nigerians are drunk.
No, start with the first
You yourself, you are drunk because you said so.
OCCR reporting project.
They are the drunken people.
Okay, what about the Nigerians? Are they sober? Are 2 out of 3 Nigerians sober when they say you're president and you were involved in corruption?
Nigerians are entitled to hold and express opinion.
Yes,
it is in our constitution. The fact that you express an opinion does not substantiate that opinion.
I agree, but that's their opinion. You accept that 2 out of 3 Nigerians think that your government is corrupt.
I will be happy if you can tell me a finding of court that says Tinubu is corrupt.
Well, what's interesting you should say that, because a lot of Nigerians have reason to suspect that his wealth was built on illicit activity.
A lot of English people have complained about...
Okay, keep quiet and let the man talk.
A lot of Americans have complained. There is no country of the world where the people aren't complaining about their leaders.
All right, I love it when you set these challenges. Can you find me a country in the world where the sitting president, the US government seized $500,000 from one of their Chicago bank accounts after investigators found probable cause that the funds were proceeds of drug trafficking, specifically heroin. Tinubu gave up the money in a settlement. He was never indicted of a crime. But when a US judge last year ordered the release of all of the documents by the FBI, Tinubu went to court to prevent it. What does he have to hide?
The minute a matter is taken to court by right, you have the right to send your lawyer. The fact that you send a lawyer to defend your matter or to go against a motion that is filed before the court is not a conclusive proof of acceptance of the fact
he's obviously got something
that was
to hide.
taken to the court.
He gave up $500,000, which were probably the proceeds of drug trafficking.
I'm glad you used the word probably, but it is not. Go ahead.
You said in 2022 that this drug case, quote, conclusively concluded not in favor of Bola because he had to forfeit that money. There is still a cloud around drug-related activity.
Cloud,
yeah,
not a conclusion.
Okay, so the cloud's still there for a lot of Nigerians.
Oh, God.
How did it disappear?
Because the Nigerian people have moved on with the president.
Who said they moved on?
Who moved on?
The facts are there.
Less than 10% of Nigerian voters voted for him. So he doesn't have some big mandate from the people that means that I can't ask you, why did he give back $500,000 to the US government, which were believed to be the proceeds of drug trafficking, and you believed they were the proceeds of drug trafficking?
Why do you conduct a polling with 500 people and give a representation of the population?
What is this clown talking about?
No, I just said the point. You heard
what is this clown talking about?
Well, you don't trust the Nigerian people.
I trust the Nigerian people.
This idea of drugs and narcotics is a terrible case all over the world. And if someone has that questionable character and is elected as president, what it means is that it will embolden people who are into those activities. That is why this person has to come out clean. You said those words.
If somebody has that, thank God.
That means he's also drunk.
How do we know he didn't come out clean? You said he has to come out clean in 2020.
Exactly.
Okay, let me put it this way.
Oh, God, shut up.
This fact
was
litigated.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't litigated.
It was litigated in the Nigerian court, and the apex court of the land, the Supreme Court of Nigeria, whose decision is not appealable to any court outside Nigeria, held that this case has not been established against.
Your words were that there's still a cloud around them because it was not conclusively
He's wrong.
And the judgment of the Supreme Court, which one is relevant? In the Constitution of Nigeria, all the decision of the Supreme Court bind all authorities and people.
Who appoints the judge of the Supreme Court,
He
Oga?
had laundered drug money, most likely in his US bank account, is not an issue for you now. It was an issue for you a few years ago.
Yes.
It's suddenly not
Who
an issue
appoints
when you
the judge of the Supreme Court?
How convenient.
The court has held the allegation that was put up in the petition against him could not be
Well,
substantiated.
the US hasn't held that, and in fact, the US court tried to.
It is Tinubu that appoints the judge of the Supreme Court now. What is this one saying?
Is
And
that
what
what they
stopped
do?
them from releasing it?
Is innocent
What
people?
stopped them from releasing
It's
it?
ongoing in the courts.
I'm glad you said ongoing.
But do
So let's
innocent-
wait until when it's...
Do innocent people try and stop files from being released about themselves?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm sure the Nigerian
Yeah,
people do that.
privacy. Do you... I'm coming. If a case is taken to court against you, even when you know you are not liable, will you be comfortable that the order of court will permit the release of privacy issue relating to you?
Yeah, if people think I have drug money in my bank and I don't, then yes, I'll do everything I can to.
Unfortunately, people do not.
Tinubu is not just super rich. It's what he does with his wealth. In 2019, 2 armored money trucks, bullion vans, were seen going into his house, coming out of his house. Where did that money go?
Ask him.
No. Point. Did you see the money? Or those who reported, did you see the money inside the bullion van?
Was there no money in the bullion vans?
How am I to know?
You said it was money in the
You
vans
said
at the
it
time.
now.
2023, February. You said.
How could I have known
It's
there was money?
But you said
tragedy
it,
that
you
I know
clown.
words better than you do. There is only one person in Nigeria who is alleged to have moved money through bullion
This
vans,
local
and that
fake
person
news.
is the presidential candidate. You said that on February 17th on Channels Television 2023.
Thank you for notifying me.
Jesus.
So where did the money go from the bullion vans?
There was no money inside.
So why did you say there was?
I said there was no money inside.
But you
Why
said
did
the
you say
time
there
said he's
was?
the
You
only person
clown.
who
What
moved
is
money
funny here?
When did I say that?
But there is only one person in Nigeria who is alleged to have moved money through bullion vans, and that person is on their ballot as the presidential candidate.
What was the event in Nigeria?
Oh, so you were lying because it was election campaign?
No, I never said I'm lying. I say, how can you prove that just because a bullion van goes into a person's house and comes out that there is money inside?
Maybe because people said it was vote buying by Tinubu. Tinubu himself said, I gave money to the people. You know he said that?
Yes, I also give money
When
to
you
people
give money to
myself.
people, people would say that's vote buying. Politicians, rich politicians give poor
No, he
people
doesn't
money.
give money to people on election day, but he helps people.
But
Oh,
people at the time said it was
Jesus.
vote buying. Do you agree with that?
Jesus.
You said,
I never said that.
ostensibly, I can't believe you still keep walking into this. You said it was done ostensibly for vote buying. Do you agree with Daniel Bwala?
Oh, drink
or
water.
not?
Drink the water.
Please don't lift up a glass. On the eve of the presidential elections, 2 cash-laden bullion vans, your words, were seen on the premises, which was ostensibly for vote buying. Your words, January 22nd, 2023. Have you just disowned everything you've said in order to work for this president?
I'm coming. What you just said now, I want to put it on record, on my own honor. That's not what I said.
You have no honor.
So far,
You have no honor. You are a honorless. If you mention honor, they are not going to fire you for that studio.
You will have an idea of a phrase or a word in a sentence. They coin the other part of it to project what you want to push out.
I read the entire sentence
coming.
to you.
No, but that's wrong.
No. Let's
But
read it
that's
again.
wrong.
On the eve of the presidential elections in Lagos, 2 cash-laden bullion vans, your words, were
His
seen on
words,
his premises
thank you.
located on 26 Borderland Street, which was ostensibly for vote buying. Your words.
His words.
You can just say I don't agree with what I said, then I was lying.
Yeah,
I don't
just.
agree with what you said, yeah?
No, with what you said. In fact, in 2023, you said that he bought his election. Did he buy his election?
At the time, I thought. But when it was litigated in court, the court found out he didn't.
So you thought he was vote buying, and now you don't. You thought he bought his election.
We all knew about the irregularities in the election. We all knew what happened.
You
Stop
said that you
lying
couldn't
now.
eat food for 3 days.
I never said that. Where?
Arise News, March 2nd, 2023. I became so sick for the past 3 days, I found it very hard eating food.
I'm sure you have a mistaken identity.
Oh, Jesus,
I
Chimo.
never said that.
You never said that you
Why
became
would I not
sick.
eat? Win, lose, or draw. You eat your food and go to bed. And legitimate complaints were raised all over Nigeria. That part is what threw me off balance. In fact, I became so sick. For the past 3 days, I found it very hard eating food.
I'm going to spend a lot of time enjoying social media after this show is
Exactly,
done.
you know.
Let's turn to our panel, who are waiting patiently once again. I'm joined by Anu Adeoye, a journalist for the Financial Times who's covered Nigeria. Anu
Finish him.
a lot about President Tinubu and the allegations of corruption, including from Daniel Bwala, which he's now pretending he didn't.
Yeah, he's pretending as if he doesn't know what he said.
Okay.
Finish it.
You recently described him as a wily political tactician. How does he wield power? Daniel and others have accused him of vote buying in the past. How does he wield power in your view?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to understand the context of Nigerian politics, right? And this isn't specifically about Daniel, because he used to be in the opposition, now he works for the president.
They don't use oil rubbing mouth,
well, he used
money
to be in
rubbing
the APC,
mouth.
Then he was in the opposition, now he's back in the APC, and he doesn't remember anything he said when he was in the opposition.
And I think the crucial context here is Nigerian politics is ideology free.
Yes.
Right? There's no left or right.
No ideology,
it's
nothing.
Mostly, unfortunately, about, people call it stomach infrastructure.
Yeah, what did they go chop?
And self-interest. And ultimately, if you're someone like the president who, for all his many faults, I think is someone
who understands them.
Nigerian politicians for what they are.
He understands them. Hungry.
And if you can tap into that, it's very, very easy to get people to come on side. I have a question for Daniel, right? Like, what made you from saying all of those things that you now disavow? What was the grand vision that made you decide, I want to work for this guy?
First of all, I left him after the primaries because he made a choice of a Muslim ticket. And I thought at the time that would be injurious to the interests of the...
So what changed your mind? Isn't it injurious now?
And I campaigned against him. And after the election, for the next 1 year, I was critiquing policies of the president. But I saw from January right up to December how this president patiently introduced policies and continued to engage Nigerians across all platforms in a bid to push Nigeria forward. I became impressive about it and made a choice to do that. Just in the same way. Mehdi Hasan has worked with BBC, I worked with Sky News, then with MSNBC, and then back to Seteo. Evolution of people's life.
Worst analogy.
Evolution of
people's
life.
Yeah, in 14 years of doing head-to-head. What are you talking about? Somebody changing their job from one company to another is not the same as you saying he's a corrupt man who created a militia, bought an election, and now I work for him, and I only said that stuff because it was the opposition.
Exactly.
All the things you said, you couldn't substantiate that.
I substantiated all of it.
No, you have not.
Let's go to Aisha Osori from the Open Society Foundations. Aisha, in 2023, on the eve of the presidential elections, you wrote an article calling Nigeria a competitive authoritarian state that barely qualifies as a democracy. What do you mean by that, and what role has President Tinubu played in making that better or worse?
Well, he's done nothing to make it better. Definitely, our democracy is a lot worse off in 2026 than it was in 2023.
How so?
Well, for one thing, we had a stronger opposition in 2015 when the APC came in. Thanks to President Buhari and now President Tinubu. We have 30 out of 36 states are now APC, which is not necessarily a good thing because that means we have no opposition. PDP, the People's Democratic Party, has been virtually destroyed. The Labour Party has been destroyed. We literally have no political parties anymore. Another thing that we don't have is any separation of powers between the legislature and the judiciary.
Exactly.
Tunde Doherty is here, the UK chairman of the All Progressives Congress.
Stop asking this man, he's wearing the cap.
Aisha says that your party is turning Nigeria basically into a one-party state.
I disagree with her.
Of course.
I want people to know something about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Before the man comes to government, he was an accountant. He has a very high-paying job. He was working with...
Who did he work for?
Who did he work for, you clown?
Who did he work for before Mobile? He said he worked for Deloitte.
Yes.
He made a lot of money from Deloitte, he said.
Yes.
Deloitte says they have no record of him ever working for them.
If you know him, before he came to politics, he's such a very generous, very rich man.
Is that what we are saying here?
You remember he was a senator.
Tunde, why does Deloitte say they have no record of the man working for them?
Now I'm starting to get angry and cussing people out.
Oppositions working against to bring the man down. But I can
Not
tell
sure
you...
Deloitte is part of the Nigerian opposition.
What is the question and what are you talking about?
All of these things emanate from the opposition point of view to bring the man down. But they have forgotten this man is the symbol of Nigerian democracy that we have today.
What did they ask? What are you saying now? They are talking about the APC turning Nigeria into a one-party state. So what are you saying?
Today that will say he did not have a Tinubu tonic in his political stability in Nigeria.
Why are people clapping? Why are you clapping?
Before we go to the audience, I've been waiting patiently here.
Fact check, Deloitte denied that they said he never worked for them. Go ahead.
Okay. You have said in the past, I don't even know why I'm bothering.
Don't bother, he will deny.
When was this man born? We don't know where he was born. He doesn't tell us anything. You complained about this. Now you work for him. Has he told you his birthday?
If you don't know where someone, if you don't know when someone was born, first of all, he must have been born before me. I guess you know that. And secondly, my not knowing when he was born, does that have a consequential effect on his birth?
You said it did at the time when you raised it as an issue.
Consequential effect on his birth?
And do you now know where he was born?
Do you know where he was
Still?
born?
Okay.
Yeah,
let's go to our patient audience here in London's Conway Hall. Let's go to the lady here in the front row first.
In 2023, President Tinubu promised Nigerians constant electricity within 4 years, saying Nigerians shouldn't vote for him if he failed. Yet the national grid has suffered
collapsed totally,
including twice in January 2026. What is the government
doing? We are currently generating about 2,000 megawatts for the whole country.
The government has actually strengthened the partnership between the private sector and the public sector. You should know that we took up reforms in the power industry that has allowed the private sector to be fully involved. Some of the state governments have even reached an agreement where they have off-grid and they run their own electricity company in their respective states. So the progress is being made, and I can assure you by the end of this first time, you would have seen very obvious change that you'll be happy about.
Should people not vote for him if the electricity situation continues to be bad? That's what he says.
They will make the decision when that comes, when that time comes.
Okay, let's go back to
Doesn't matter if we vote or
let's
not.
Go to
the last one,
the gentleman there with the hat. Yep.
Why should young and emerging Nigerian politicians believe that merit and not connection or lobbying determines their political relevance in the Nigeria of today?
I can tell you that lots of young Nigerians are excited by the prospect of the renaissance in terms of growth, development, and opportunity that the Nigerian government and its policies has provided for them.
Lies.
That's why you see lots of them, they are sending agencies. Some of them are even coming to invest in the tech industry.
Lies.
So Nigerian people understand that in this administration, only merit. President doesn't need
only merit.
If you have the right idea, that administration will provide the enabling environment for you to try.
Really?
An overwhelming majority of young people see their country moving in the wrong direction in Nigeria. 91%.
91.
The Afrobarometer survey from last summer.
I question the authenticity of that report.
You still think this government is a
If you can question your own words.
You said it was in the past.
And I'm now saying it is not.
Okay. Let's go back to the audience. Yes, woman in the third row there, yes?
I was delighted to hear that you said that you have rid the oil industry of corruption. Given that fact, why is it that you allowed the oil companies, the oil majors who've been working in the Niger Delta for the last 70 years to exit without dealing with the corruption, pollution problem that has riddled the lives of Niger Deltans who are paying the cost, but without the companies being made to foot the bill?
Yeah, so all the...
They came, they drilled oil, polluted our land, and they left.
In Nigeria, they did so based on the agreement they have with the government. When this government came on board, we introduced reforms, including in the energy sector. Some of the companies who felt they couldn't bear, because most of the investigation found out, most of them were just rent seekers over the years in successive government. And so we decided that you have to play by the book. And they were not comfortable, they left. You don't have control over their decision. But in the same vein, shortly after that, you see lots of foreign companies that are coming to Nigeria to invest.
You know what? I'm done with this nonsense. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I can't. Every time I listen to this man, I lose brain cells. Okay, you have sold shame to buy disgrace. You have sold shame to buy disgrace. Everything you said is on tape. You are a man of no honor. You should be ashamed of yourself. Yeah? I wonder how you are still sitting down there. If I were you, ground would open to swallow me. Ground should open to swallow me. Then you have the other one that woke up, that the UK head of APC this day. Is it a crime for you to use your head and be intelligent? They asked you a question. Why the APC is turning Nigeria into a one-party state, and you're talking about how Tinubu they help people, how Tinubu they help people. Is it a crime that if you wear that cap, you become instantly dumb? These are the kind of people Tinubu is surrounding himself with. Is it a crime that is intelligence a crime? Look at how you people embarrass yourself, embarrass the president. If I'm a president, I will sack you. You don't know that him giving you that position is a way to ridicule you. Because he knows you have a pride. You're a hungry man. You're a hungry man. He gave you, they use oil, rub your mouth. Look at you now. You are jumping and singing. You are jumping and singing. No shame. No shame. These are the kind of people that you think Nigeria will move forward. These are the kind. Let's even keep tribe. Let's keep party aside. Are these the kind of people that cannot speak the truth that will take this country forward? Keep party aside, keep tribe aside, keep religion aside. Let's stand on the truth. Are these the kind of people that will take this country forward? I'm getting triggered. This is why I don't put my mouth in politics, because I get triggered easily by things like this. You don't do it, they go. Oga, if I'm your child, I will deny you. I will disown you because you lack honor. You lack honor. You have sold your honor for money. Shame. I beg. Thank you. Hey, where are you going?
It is smoky, Igbo.
When you watch this video now, didn't you laugh? You laughed, but you still refuse to subscribe. Are you among my village people? You're among my village people. You don't want me to make it in life.
Continue.
You refuse. You laughed. Shouldn't my reward be click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and click all notification? And when you finish watching, you share. Share to your friends so that they too will laugh. So that me too, I will go far. But no, you decided to be among my village people. You want to watch and go. Don't be among my village people. I post videos every day, every single day, to make you laugh. If you join the tribe, the fantastic tribe, every day you will just be laughing. Look at this one now. This one is to watch all my funny videos playlist. This one is to watch my last video, and this one is to subscribe.